Hi there. We're going to try this one more time. For those of you that are new to social, just getting started on social, I will tell you, just do it. Don't try to make it perfect. Things are going to go wrong. Things just went wrong tonight. This is my third time trying to do this video. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Um, and we're going to get started again. My name is Brindley. Every Sunday night, I do a breakthrough with Brindley where I give us about 10 or 15 minutes of a topic that we're going to talk about all week long on my social. So I'm going to share stories about that topic, solutions to that topic where it might be showing up in your life or in your business. And tonight we're going to talk about a topic that really has affected me at a deep level for a long time, and that's belonging. So when we talk about systems, a system is a group of things that parts act interdependently of one another. So we are parts of all sorts of systems. So first is our family system. The family system is the system that we're born into. And inside every system, especially the family system, you don't belong in that system simply by performing or over functioning or doing more of or people pleasing. You belong in that system just because you exist. But oftentimes we will inherit, choose, or create a false sense of belonging. And that can come through in a number of ways. But what a fact that I found interesting when I was doing the research for this topic is that they compare loneliness and a lack of sense of belonging. So mortality rate is greater than someone that smokes 15 cigarettes or 15 packs of cigarettes, I think they said a week. So they say that someone who suffers from loneliness has the same health risk as someone that smokes, which I find fascinating. They also said that 61% of 18 to 25-year-olds are lonely or don't feel like they belong. And those of us that were placed in foster, adopted, abandoned, don't know a parent. So my story is my mother was impregnated young. Doesn't know who my father is, and didn't know what she wanted to do. And the Catholic Association was so helpful to women back then. And she put me in foster for 2 weeks. I was with a foster family. And then she made the decision. She spent that 2 weeks really deciding how she wanted to do that. And I'm so grateful for the way that she handled the situation. And I don't know who my father is. There have been some things recently that are beginning that God is starting to uncover, yet there's a lack of sense of belonging. So when you don't have a strong system that you felt that you belong to, you may have started developing unhealthy behaviors in order to belong. What's also fascinating, women, ladies, we will actually hide the truth in order to belong because community is so important to us as nurturers. And so it's fascinating when you start looking at the systems and you start looking at what you do to be a part of or to feel a part of or to belong in those systems. We will perform. We will do what we think everyone wants us to do so that we are not excluded, so that we are made to feel more of a part of. We will rescue. We will overfunction. We will people please. We will do all of the things that sacrifice self so that we're not excluded. And here's the interesting part. Bert Hellinger, who's the founder of this work, German psychotherapist that we are in gratitude for giving us family constellations and the work, deep work around generational trauma. And he says that belonging is the first systemic law. And that when we attempt to exclude or we attempt to push out, the system will compensate for that loss. Meaning someone will come behind or a part of the system will come behind and pick it up. So when I started doing a lot of this work, and I've done it with my clients, and as I do it with my clients, I had family members come up that my great grandmother, who was the victim in the family, she was the alcoholic, the abuser, the one that everyone kind of said, we don't want to have anything to do with you. And in Constellation, which reach out if you are wondering what that word is and what that means, and we can talk more about it. But it showed that she was excluded from the family. She never felt that she was part of the family, and she was never treated as part of the family. And then you watch the line, my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, myself, all of her behaviors, her rage, her addiction started being passed down generation to generation. So other roles inside the system will start picking up the trauma and they'll start repeating the same behaviors until we break the cycle. Now, tonight we're talking about belonging, and that's going to be our topic all week. And I just encourage you to really think about what groups or systems are you a part of right now that maybe don't feel perfectly aligned, that you might be performing for just to get something out of it. Now, I'm not saying that is wrong. We all get to live our lives. We all choose the systems that we're a part of. Sometimes we choose to leave them if they're unhealthy. For us, it doesn't mean the system's bad. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with the system or the people in the system is wrong. It may just not be right for me. The system may be there to teach me something. I had this recently happen, and those of you that have followed me for a number of years, I have a very deep relationship with my mother. There's a lot there as a single mom and an only child and abandonment and separation and just all of it. And um and I find myself finding these female mentors that I place in the role of mother. And I look to them and expect them to be everything that my mother was not. And then I put this expectation on them and look at them as a mother. And then when they don't meet up to that expectation, that's when the resentment starts to come. And so I had to step away from this group because I was getting in that entanglement again. I was starting to see that behavior start to repeat itself. So I needed to step outside of the system. Now, I didn't need to tell anyone. I didn't need to make a big deal of it. In the past, I would have. In the past, I would have been dramatic and made a big deal. But instead, I just gracefully and quietly stepped away because it wasn't the right environment for me. And that's okay. Where we get ourselves in trouble is when we go into systems or we stay in systems and we think we can change them. But the reality is that a system is loyal to the system, not to the individual. And so I just ask you this week as you go through your week, ask yourself, where do you feel like you don't belong and why? And where does that come from? Because if you don't hear anything I said tonight, I hope you'll take this with you. You belong because you're here, not because someone told you you belong, not because someone accepted you into a group or gave you a job or gave you a title or put you on a stage. You belong simply by being here. And when we get back to inner belonging and getting back to belonging safe with ourselves, we don't seek that outside belonging anymore. We join systems that are aligned. We're not performing, we're not overfunctioning, we're not rescuing, we're not people pleasing, which, by the way, is exhausting to keep up with. At some point, you can no longer perform, you can no longer overfunction. And so, the earlier that we realize this and we start to separate, the easier it becomes to become aligned, to retrain that nervous system, which brings me to the final segment of tonight. I had asked last week for you all to start submitting questions, kind of I'll pick a question every week from the audience and those of you that watch, and I have much gratitude for you, and follow, and I'll answer it. And so the big question this week was, Brindley, I have the awareness. You talk about all these things. You say overfunctioning and rescuing, but what do I do about it? How do I fix it? Well, first of all, you don't need to fix it. You're not broken. How do you release it? Is more of where I like to come from in my perspective. And you release it by reprogramming it the same way it was programmed. So everything we do was programmed our nervous system over time, either generationally, passed down, we inherited it, we chose it, or we created it. And so therefore, we can choose or create environments or decisions that are different to teach it different. So I have some clients right now that are going some pretty difficult things. It's a big transition of lifetime, people kind of in that identity crisis of the middle. And I've got a client that is ready to jump all in on herself and bet on herself. She's been in corporate, she's been validated, she's very, very, very well known in her field. She's brilliant, and she wants to go all in on herself. She wants to be the creator of her future, but she's got a fear, a lot of fear around this, as anyone would. And we have to sometimes say to ourselves, if we were to lean into this, what would it look like on the other side? And I'll tell you the same thing I told her and that I tell my other clients. When we have these big opportunities to do different, that is the best gift that we can give ourselves. Because on the other side, when it's said and done, we've now shown our nervous system a new way of doing something. And when we can show it a new way of doing something and it feels safe, it will slowly start to readopt that behavior over time. And when those decisions get a little bit harder or bigger because life gets bigger or life gets more difficult, you don't get as activated. You do different because now your nervous system knows how to do different. So just this week, I challenge you to lean into the uncomfortability a little bit. When you know a different way of acting and a different action would lead to a different result, I'm just going to ask you to lean into that action. Call a friend, message me, say, I really want to do this, but I'm scared. Your success rate increases by 80% just by disclosing it to someone and feeling supported. So call me, DM me, call a friend, call your mom, call your dad, call your kid, and just say, I really want to do this thing and I just need a little bit of a pep talk. And then do it. Because then on the other side, you're going to look back and go, wow, I did that and I'm okay. And now you'll know you're okay to keep doing and keep doing. And then one day, guys, you'll show up and you'll just be different. And none of us are perfect at this. We're all struggling, we're all human. But again, all I want you to hear today is that you belong just by being here. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't. Follow along this week. I'll be giving some tips, tricks. Join my newsletter at brindleytecher.com. It's about halfway down the page, or drop your email in the comments or send me a message. I do have a few spots left open for the quarter for one-on-one coaching, and my teaching schedule is now open again. So I'm starting to send some messages out. I'll be in California in June. I'll be in a special place this time next week that I'm excited to share with you guys. I've also got some Texas, New England, New York, and some others coming up. So reach out to me if you are looking for value for your business around systemic coaching and align 5 of your emotional, mental, purposeful, physical, and business lives. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.